everybody, welcome back to Q-Tips. We are the Videostore Junkies, and we are back once again to bring you a few selections to watch over the weekend on streaming. And we're going to jump right into this, and I'll throw it over to Paul.
Why, thank you, Renee. So, this summer, we had yet another Indiana Jones film. So therefore, I was thinking about, what about good adventure films? And good adventure films directed by Steven Spielberg. How about The Adventures of Tintin? Currently playing on Paramount Plus and Pluto TV. So Tintin was a series of Belgian comics written by, was it pronounced Hergé? And they're much beloved. And this was in 2011, Spielberg, and I think it was with who was it with? Anyway, well, Spielberg's the one who directed it, and it was actually Stephen Moffat and Edgar Wright co-wrote the script on this with Joe Cornish. And so Tintin is a teenage reporter and goes on these adventures, and it's based on the series of Belgian comics. I used to read this to my oldest when he was younger. It's a computer animated film from 2011. They do the motion capture stuff, but it still looks pretty good. Jamie Bell plays Tintin. Andy Serkis, the great Andy Serkis, plays Captain Haddock. Daniel Craig is in it. Nick Frost and Simon Pegg play Thompson and Thompson. Super fun adventure film. Well worth watching. That's The Adventure of Tintin, directed by Steven Spielberg on Paramount Plus and Pluto TV. And speaking of teenage reporters, I'll pass this to Zach.
It's me. It's Zachary Jimmy Olsen Edgerton over here, bringing you some fresh news on what to watch this weekend. And my theme this week is working hard. Which is my theme because I'm actually not going to be working hard. I'm not going to be working at all because I'm on vacation. So for the rest of you poor schlubs that are working, here are some things that you can watch about working, because that's the best thing to do when you're done working, is to go watch shows about doing more work. I guess. I don't know. It sounded better in my head. My first recommendation, 2014. One of my favorite TV shows. I actually don't think I've recommended this before, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't, because this show is hilarious. It's amazing. It's the sort of show I think, plenty of people have said plenty of good things about, but you still don't really appreciate how good it is until you watch it. And that is Mike Judge's Silicon Valley. Lasted for 6 seasons on HBO, aka Max. Which is where you can watch it. And this is a show about a group of young guys who are trying to do a startup in Silicon Valley. And it's a very simple premise. I mean, it's but like the thing about Mike Judge is, like, I think he actually like understands the tech industry incredibly well, and a lot of the jokes and a lot of the plots and subplots are just like so on the nose. It's actually kind of brilliant. It's got a bunch of great actors. My favorites are Kamal Nanjiani and Martin Starr, who are they're always like at each other's throat in the show, and they're just two people that I find hilarious, and they're even more hilarious together. But great show. It's playing on Max. Check it out. It's 6 seasons. And that's all I got to say about that. And speaking of young tech startups, I'll pass it over to Renee for her first recommendation.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So my next recommendation is a psychological horror film. And it follows a young professor and his pregnant wife as they move into a new home when he takes a job at a local university. And so they receive a gift from her sister. It's a bit of a housewarming gift. And it's one of those like really cool little wooden boxes. Of course, it seems to be like a little bit of a trick box because the husband tries to open it, it doesn't open. But as they're going through this, kind of moving into the house and getting settled in, the wife starts to kind of see and hear things, and things are just kind of getting a little spooky. And unfortunately, during this time, she does suffer a miscarriage, and it sort of seems like there's a malevolent entity that is around that is causing these problems and potentially what had caused the miscarriage. And so this is a supernatural horror. It's very suspenseful. It is. I think it's pretty good. A lot of times, when you're watching movies, you can kind of figure out what's going on fairly early on, and I think this did a really good job at kind of keeping things. You just didn't really have it figured out right away. It kind of kept you in the moment. So yeah, this movie is called Malicious, and
Yay!
yeah, and you can watch it on Amazon Prime. On that note, I'll pass it back to you, Paul.
Why, thank you, Renee. So my first film was an adventure film based on a Belgian comic. This is an adventure film based on a French comic. This one's probably a little lesser known in the States. This is it's actually directed by Luc Besson, and it is The Extraordinary Adventures of Adele Blanc-Sec, based on the comics from the 1970s by Jacques Tardy. And it sort of takes place late 1800s, early 1900s. And Adele Blanc-Sec she's sort of an adventurer, investigative journalist, sort of. It's things that happen, such as a giant pterodactyl loose in Paris, reanimated mummies, the search for a cure for her sister. It is very kind of Indiana Jones-esque adventures. You also have actors with very exaggerated makeup with big false noses and things like this. And they're apparently, most of them were probably very, famous French actors. So if you're a French, you'd be like, oh, haha, that's so-and-so. You're like, nah, I have no idea who this person is. But it is super fun. It is a super fun adventure film. Just goofy, silly, great Indiana Jones type adventures. And it's neat because it's something, honestly, it's like it's not something most people will be familiar with. And where's it playing, Paul? Why? It's playing on Tubi, Shout TV, and Plex. And yes, it is in French with subtitles, but it's well worth it. The French title is Le Vengeuse Extraordinaire d'Adèle Blanc-Sec, or The Extraordinary Adventures of Adele Blanc-Sec. And talking about cool French adventurers, I'll pass this to Zach.
Oui, Paul. I don't know any other French words, so I will get straight into my second recommendation. Again, talking about working hard. I think I really need a vacation because I do work pretty hard. In fact, you could say that I'm something of a workaholic, which is appropriate because that's my next recommendation is Workaholics. This is a show about a couple of young guys. Hey, sounds familiar, right? But they're not working in the tech industry. They're working at a call center. And by working, I mean mostly smoking weed and getting into hijinks. It's a pretty dumb show, but I mean that as a compliment. It's just really silly and fun. It's also got Adam Devane, who I think a couple weeks ago I recommended The Righteous Gemstone. So I guess I'm maybe on an Adam Devane kick. Yeah, really stupid show in the best possible way. Really fun, really funny. This one is playing on Hulu, Paramount Plus, the Comedy Channel. I guess the Comedy Channel has their own. The Comedy Channel? What? Speaking of smoking too much weed, Comedy Central. I guess they have their own thing, and then it says there's one season on Pluto. I don't know. Just watch it on Paramount Plus or Hulu, apparently. That's where you can catch all 7 seasons. I'm actually I haven't watched all 7 seasons. I only watched part of 1 season. So maybe I'll watch some of this weekend. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be on vacation. I already told you guys that. Come on, keep up. It was a test. You failed. Speaking of workaholics, speaking of people who just work too hard, I will pass this over to Renee for her second recommendation.
Thank you. So my next recommendation is one that I recommended over a year ago, and I believe that it deserves attention. And also the latest series just started up again, so I think it deserves a little bit of a shout out. This is one of my favorite series, and I do believe that you will soon be hearing a woo from Paul. This is What We Do in the Shadows.
Woo!
And from Zach too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be part of the.
Oh, that's nice. I like it. Yeah. This is a series that follows the daily lives of 4 vampires that are living in Staten Island. And each individual character is just so unique and just unique and just I'm not coming up with good words anyway, but together they are just really magical and it's just wonderful. The actors and actresses in this series are great. It has Natasha Demetrio as Nadja. It has Harvey Guillen as Guillermo. Has Kaivan Novak as Nandor the Relentless. Mark Proksch as Colin Robinson. Kristen Shaw is pretty much a regular now, and Doug Jones pops up quite frequently. And I don't want to be or show favoritism to anybody, but Matt Berry, my God, he's just like a powerhouse of a man, and he's just so good. He's just so good all the time, and he just works beautifully with other actors and actresses. Oh, he's just the best. So it's just a great show. I love it so much, and it's just so flippin' funny, and I recommend it a lot. And you can watch it on Hulu. Now, there is something I should mention. I did just see an article where Mark Proksch, forgive me, was discussing what's going on with SAG and the strikes and everything. He mentioned that he makes more in residuals from the one season of The Office than he does from the entirety of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So maybe go watch season 7 of The Office on Peacock. It's a great show. So I do recommend watching it, but it is something, that's interesting to note. So on that cheerful, delightful note, I heard a rumor that Zach's going to sing us out with something.
Yeah, I've got a song lined up for you. I'm gonna sing you out on. Apparently, I didn't even realize that. I had to look it up. Apparently, the song is "Jockbox" by the Skinny Boys. And there's about a 2-second clip of it used as the Workaholics theme song. So I'm gonna sing that 2-second clip. All right, here we go. You got it. You gotta be fresh.
For the weekend of August 18th, Paul recommended The Adventures of Tintin on Paramount Plus, Hoopla, and Pluto TV, and The Extraordinary Adventures of Adele Blanc-Sec on Tubi, Shout TV, and Plex. I recommended Malicious on Prime Video, Vudu, Tubi, and Plex, and What We Do in the Shadows on Hulu. Zachary recommended Silicon Valley on Max and Workaholics on Paramount Plus and Hulu.
You're welcome. That's it.
That was great.
You can play the whole song if you want to over the end, but I don't know how it goes, so I'm not going to try to sing it.
That's okay.
As if that's ever stopped me before. I know.
To do what? To rock the spot. With who? The Super J. And who? Shot the shot. Kick it. And the human jock box. Funky fresh in the flesh. And you know he's dead. We got the beast and the mice and rock the fresh routine. The Skinny Boys came and hit the rock the party and sing. We'll be sticking together through thick and thin. Jock box, if you're ready, let the beast come in. Check out the sounds coming out. The human jock box, guaranteed to make a party. Jump in and rock. If you like what you hear, all fresh and new. Party people, here's a solo from Jock to you. I'm fresh. You gotta be fresh. Ooh, 3 of us, y'all. We're like fresh.